What's up, everybody? I'm Leo Reyes Rayon,
I'm Josh Glazer.
and together we make up the Rays and Glaze podcast. Now, today we are on to Washington,
Quoting the great philosopher Bill Belichick.
the GOAT. Anyway, we're on to the Redskins. The Redskins.
The Washington football team. It's a derogatory statement, Leo.
The Washington Redskins, man. Like, wow.
It's
All
actually
right,
it's actually the Deadskins, but you know what? Well,
man. So I know Josh thinks this team has a lot of needs, and by their record last year, they do have a lot of needs. They have the second overall pick in this year's draft. Now, man, where do we begin? They have first of all, I'm gonna just be honest, man. Ron Rivera, like, I was talking to my dad. We went for a walk this morning, and I was like, Dad, I don't know any other job other than being a football coach where like you could fail at one job and then get hired to do the same job at another place. And I know that Ron Rivera is a great defensive mind, but if I have a young quarterback, which I do in Haskins, if I am the Redskins, why would I go and pick Ron Rivera when we seen what happened?
He's failed one black young quarterback. He's going on to fail another one. I'll say it.
Like, man, what the hell?
He's already bringing in a guy that replaced the other guy for a fifth-round pick in Kyle Allen. And he's already making goo-goo eyes at him. Like, are you serious now? You just spent a top 10 pick. Two things. I guess I got to get this off my shoulder. This is bullshit.
Just go.
All right. Two things. Two things you do if you're a damn coach. When you have two picks in the top 100, that's all you have. You have 2 and 66.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, first of all, you don't say that freaking Chase Young is their pick no matter what. Because then you don't get any offers and you lose all leverage and people don't give you any Godfather offers.
Right.
At a position that you really don't need at this point. Pass rusher is not going to make you a playoff team. It's not going to change it. He's a good player. He's a possible great player. But look at Myles Garrett. Are the Browns good all of a sudden because they got Myles Garrett first overall? No. The other thing is with Haskins. All right, seriously, come on now. You have a young guy that's already proven he's a little up and down mentally in terms of he's young, right? He's got to get his confidence up. He has confidence. He just doesn't know how to – just not a lot of maturity, I guess is the word. Whatever. And you can kind of put everything on Jay Gruden in the previous iteration of the Redskins, but why would you bring in a guy like Kyle Allen and start making goo-goo eyes over and over and over and over and over when all you're going to do is drive down Haskins' value? You've met with Haskins. So now everyone that calls is like, hey, you don't really like Haskins. We'll give you a 4th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick like they did for Rosen. It's the same thing they did with Rosen. They put him in, and he didn't do great, and then they just started probably talking shit about him behind closed doors, and they didn't get anything in return.
Yeah, right.
You drafted a guy in the top 10. What are you smoking? All right.
Yeah, man. And then not on top now. I mean, that's just one of the problems, and then we move on to the whole Trent Williams situation.
And they don't have a GM right now because they're waiting until after the draft to hire one. Because that's smart. That's how we draft players in a virtual draft. Is not have a guy in charge. We'll just fly by to see our pants lit our head coach pick guys like Vernon Butler Jr. in the 2nd round when you already have Quan Short. All right, sorry, that's a Carolina Panthers thing. I know him intimately from his time in the NFC.
But this is who they hired. Like this is who they chose to hire. Like nobody held a gun to their head and was like, you have to get him. This is who they chose to hire. And I mean. Bro, like, what's up with all this stuff about Haskins? Is Haskins the guy, bro? It's like, man, he played 1 year. He's young, like you said. Like, give him some more time. Like, give him more weapons. You know what I mean? Just give him time. You spent
a first round pick on him. Realize how shitty Eli Manning was his first year?
Yeah, bro. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, y'all are out of your mind. Because
Now let me be clear. Ron Rivera is not in a bubble. In If you're saying any team X is hiring Ron Rivera, not a bad hire at all by any stretch of the imagination. Good hire if you're building up an organization and everything, but you have to have a better plan with the young quarterback you just drafted in the top 5, 10, whatever they drafted him. You can't go in and just be doing it like this.
it's crazy, bro.
It's just strange.
It's crazy. I
Like,
mean, you think higher of Ron Rivera than I do. I mean, I think he's a good defensive coach.
well, here's the thing. His teams, if you look at the numbers, always improve throughout the year, which is what you want in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm standing up for Ron Rivera, but they improve throughout the year, and they're always decent. He really didn't have a shitty team for the most part his time through Carolina, unless there's like tons of injuries,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because he knows what he's doing for the most part. He just doesn't have he's one of those coaches that if he falls in love with you as like a Ron Rivera guy, then he'll go. It's like loyal to a fault, where it's not a constant self-evaluation of where your opinion is of others, and that's kind of where what I've heard reported and what I've seen in terms of his approach to people.
Yeah.
Like Steve Smith, for example, like the way they kicked him out as soon as Cam got in, one of the biggest mistakes in my opinion. Acting like Cam Newton wasn't able to be an alpha if Steve Smith was in there.
Yeah, what kind of shit is that?
Let Steve Smith teach Cam Newton how to be a freaking alpha, since that he went to a freaking Super Bowl with the Panthers, which is before even Cam got there, with
Mm-hmm.
dudes like Delhomme and Rasim Muhammad. That's going back. Some of y'all may not have even been alive then, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that old, but shit. Anyway, let's get back to the team. They got 2 picks in the top 100. Well, what do you see as their top need, Leo?
I mean, corner. Corner.
Yeah.
I put edge, but like, I put it because like, obviously, like you said, it won't necessarily make them an elite team right now. But I mean, Chase Young is there at number 2. They shouldn't get a quarterback. You know what I mean? Joe Burrow is going to be off the board anyway. And I think that you have to just ride out with Haskins. I think, me personally, you have 3 great down linemen. You have Deron Payne, you have Jonathan Allen, and you have Ioannidis. You have Montez Sweat, like the super freak athlete. Put on the other side Chase Young and just bully the shit out of teams on the line and make it hard to throw the ball for the next.
Well, so now they're a 4-3 team, so it's 4 down linemen, which is going to help. You're right. It's going to help Montez Sweat kind of play what he did in college. He was stupid. It was really dumb to draft him into a 3-4 and expect him to drop and have all these.
Yeah, true. So,
mental block.
So just build up I would say just build up the pass rush. You have like if looking at your team going forward, I would say the strength of your team is on the defensive line.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
I don't know how you feel, Josh, but I feel like if Chase Young can come in here and play, if he could develop his technique, develop as a player, you know what I'm saying, play to run good and still chase, get after the quarterback, they will have, like if he does that and you have the 2 defensive tackles, like how you do it, and then just have Montez Sweat just literally just be an athlete. You know what I mean? And I mean, just go like I feel like at this point they have to do that because of what's there. You know what I mean? I would not go receiver right now if I was them. I would
it's too early. Too early. They trade down.
I would just get Chase Young, man. He's gonna be. I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer. Like, Ron Rivera wasn't wrong for saying what he said. He just shouldn't have said it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you have to go Chase Young here just because of the situation y'all are in. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's nobody else that's worth the value unless they're about to trade an arm and a leg to move up in the draft. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, moving up for Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as like in love with Chase Young as most people, and I
Mm-hmm.
may be completely wrong. But there's just something towards the end of the year where he kind of fell off. I know he was being double and triple teamed, but you still have to find ways to. There had to be something going on that they weren't moving him around like they could have. I'm not sure what was going on. I know he measures out great and he's played really amazing when he's been one-on-one, but that was college. He's gonna get double teamed a lot. Maybe not if he's with the Redskins. Might be less because they have some other dudes, but it's a lot easier to take out an edge in today's game for offensive linemen and for offenses, but. I don't know. I think it is the pick and it's what they're going to do. So you really have to. You can't even list that as a need because it's not necessarily a lead. You have Ryan Kerrigan and you have Montez Sweat, which is workable. You can win with that with how good their interior guys are.
Oh yeah.
Put it that way. So those guys, you can win with those edge guys, and you can still be a good D line. I think they're doing the gamble that if we take the whole approach that the 49ers did and how they kind of jumped up out of nowhere, was they continue just to draft pressure player after pressure player after pressure player.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do anything else. They just way too many guys, and eventually they hit on a couple.
So also, what's the deal with Reuben Foster? Like Reuben Foster is going to be playing for them, like right? I mean, barring
Allegedly, yes, but who knows if he's got his shit still together? What he's doing during the lockout? I'm in the lockout.
And personally, like my thing with Jeff Okudah, you know what I mean? Like now after Chase Young, in my opinion, I guess Jeff Okudah would probably be the next player that you would take. But me personally, the way I think about football is I would always I feel like cornerback. People are gonna think I'm crazy for this, but I feel like cornerback is like it's a position that like I mean, I'm not gonna say you can win with terrible corners, but I feel like if I had the chance to pick between a dominant cornerback and a dominant pass rusher, me personally, I would pick the dominant pass rusher. But that being said, like I don't know how you feel about Okudah. I feel like Okudah kind of came up out of nowhere. He had one. I mean, last year he played good last year. I mean, is that going to transfer to the NFL though?
Yes, he's going to be really good. That's not the issue.
Okay.
It's just he's just not the same as we don't need to get in a philosophical debate about this. I disagree about the pass rush versus cover.
Mm-hmm.
I think cover is probably more influential because you can scheme up pass rush.
Yeah, true. That's true too. Yeah.
You look at the Patriots' way of winning.
Yeah.
Just get good cover guys. You can scheme up, and it's a lot easier you can take away guys that are pass rushers unless, now this is a big caveat, if you have guys in the middle that are able to penetrate like a Fletcher Cox or a
shit. I mean, I know Deron Payne and those guys haven't necessarily been Fletcher Cox, but
they're good, but they haven't flashed as pass rushers.
That's true too. You know what I mean?
But who knows? Maybe they will in the new 4-down scheme where they don't have to. They're not eating up blocks. It's a completely different scheme now, so they're going to take turns just shooting the gap. It's going to be very exciting. It's if you're a Redskins fan, be very excited about the D line. But now let's get to the actual needs. We'll start with corner, like you talked about. They need an outside starter, but the key is they're not going to be able to get it early because they have one pick and then they have 66. Mm-hmm. So at 66, maybe they go corner there, and they look at a guy like Damon Arnett, who played next to your buddy Jeff Okudah at Ohio State, or a guy like Amik Robertson, who's I'm like in love with. He's short and he's little, but he just takes the ball away. That's all. He's kind of Honey Badger-esque.
Right.
That way. Not as great of a tackler. Good enough, but he's 5'8", 5'9", maybe, if that. But he plays the shit out of the cornerback position and nickel, which is, I think at this point, you just add as many guys that can cover as possible, and you figure it out later. That's what Ron Rivera was famous for. He never really drafted corners high. He found guys late, so I think, that's what you can expect, that they may address those guys later. And 66 is probably the last point point in the draft where you're going to get a guy like Arnett or Robertson because it's a deep corner class, but it's harder to find great nickels. After that, you start bargain bin shopping with guys. The linebacker position is really bad in Washington. I mean, it's just not very good in Washington. They're young guys. Some of them have some range, but none of them are like, okay, this is a starter, and he's going to be a starter for the next 3-4 years.
Wow.
They're just not there. Maybe Cole Holcomb, he's shown flashes, but I would add a guy that's close to my heart named Jacob Phillips out of LSU, and it kind of fits with their approach. That's one thing with the Redskins. They always draft big school guys. If you look past a couple of drafts, they do have a Reuben Foster coming back. Don't know what he's going to give you because he hasn't played, and you don't know how he fits in the scheme. He's a great player when he's healthy and when he's not doing stupid shit. But a guy like Jacob Phillips would be great to fit next to him. Fast, strong, good enough in coverage, a real hitter, good off getting off the – I don't know why he's not being highly ranked. He's getting overshadowed by Patrick Queen, but there's no chance they get Patrick Queen because he's going to go too high. Do you agree with the linebacker position?
Yeah, for sure. I say linebacker too, and then what were you about to? Oh yeah, I was gonna say too, like, I was gonna say receiver too. You know what I mean?
That was my next one, was receiver and tight end.
Yeah, receiver, tight end. I mean, Jordan
Receiver,
Reed.
you could go with both. You could cover both things and add a guy like Claypool, who's kind of a flex between those two positions. Or you go with a more raw guy that's kind of getting people excited, Antonio Gandy Golden.
No, yeah.
They need a bigger receiver because they have McLaurin. They've got Kelvin Harmon, who's a solid X.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some. I'm trying to think who else they have.
And Golden is he's a big guy. He's like 6'4", 220. He's a big.
He reminds me of Martavis Bryant a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, on that offense maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The other position of need is on offense. It's the tight end because they lose Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
They cut him. They need a move tight end, so obviously you go toward the two Bryants.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter and Harrison. The problem is they both kind of have injury history similar to Jordan Reed, so I don't know if they go that way. There's also more developmental guys like Cole Kmet from Notre Dame.
Right.
So there's players out there late with tight ends, late receiver, and linebacker. They need to find a couple, and hopefully they do. That's the biggest thing that I see kind of stunting their growth on defense maybe, is that they don't have a linebacker that can function the way that Ron Rivera wants linebackers to function, in the way that they worked in with Thomas Davis, Shaq Thompson, and Luke Kuechly in Carolina.
Right.
If you're looking at his best teams over there and how he built them, that's what you need, and they aren't available really where they have picks in this draft unless they're going to trade up and use future picks, but we can't really predict that or mock it. What do you see as their record? How do you see them improving? What's your approach?
I mean, I think that they're gonna be better than the Giants. You know what I mean? I think that they're not as good as the Eagles and the Cowboys. So I'm gonna say 6-10. I think they're gonna be 6-10, and you know what I mean. I don't see them. I still see them. I see them as getting better, but like still in the rebuilding phase. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I'm kind of close. I'm a little more bullish on them, and I might be completely wrong, but it's because I think they're gonna have a quick trigger with the quarterback, which may spark a couple wins if they bring in a new guy and move back and forth. You know how that can do, where it can win a couple of games you're not supposed to. I think Geis maybe has a chance to actually be healthy this year. We'll know.
We didn't talk about Geis. Yeah, Geis is.
I don't really. I mean, you can't really talk about him because unfortunately he hasn't stayed healthy. He's a great player when he's healthy. I'll go to bat for him any day of the week, but it's just a matter of can they. It's how they're going to run their offense, because that's what Scott Turner did in Carolina. It's the son of North Turner. Say yay for nepotism. But that's kind of how they take the offense. A lot of play action, a lot of quick stuff. They got the receivers to do that. They need to add more tight end. I have 7-9, 8-8. I think that may be too rich, but I think their D line is going to be so good that they'll be able to make some plays in and out. And they have good safeties too with Landon Collins and company.
Yeah, true.
So it'll be a more positive year. Maybe now that I'm looking at maybe 6-10, 7-9, but
All right,
I'll
bro.
stick at 7-9.
All right, bro. So here's the big question. I mean, like, if it was up to you, so Jeff Okudah or Chase Young?
I'll take Chase Young. I still
Okay.
think he's better than. Yeah, I don't think Okudah's as good as. I don't think Okudah's as good as Marshawn Lattimore was coming out. Put it that way.
Right. All right, so.
But he doesn't have the injury issues, so who knows? I don't know. I like Chase Young, but I just don't think he's. I think he's special, but not like special. I don't know. It may be complete bullshit and a cop out, but anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, the whole thing about the draft is they're going to go after big school players. Be ready for that, and they're going to have to scramble after they pick Chase. So
Yeah.
have to figure that shit out, and we'll see. They're going to draft a lot of guys that are. I could see a guy like Anthony Jennings from Alabama because they love Alabama players. He's a pass rusher, edge guy. That's kind of been what this front office has done, and it's kind of the same front office. Even though they hired new guys, they just promoted guys from within for the most part. Yeah, that's how we see the Redskins.
Yep. All right, y'all. So like, share, and subscribe. Redskins fans, let us know how you feel, man. We want to know. All right, I'm Leo Reyes Rayon.
I'm Joshua Glazer.
And we're on to New York. All right, peace, y'all.